in mid-conversation. We're talking about Lev's piece on Todd Blanch and some of the breaking news that's happening today that reveals the growing desperation of Donald Trump to shut down any inquiry as to alleged ties between Trump and Epstein. I say alleged just to be cheeky. We know there are ties. Folks, we have Lev Parnas here. Lev Parnas is of Lev Remembers. Please subscribe to him. Lev, you all know, was once part and parcel of MAGA, a fixer for Donald Trump. He unfortunately paid the price, but came out a better man for it and is trying his best to, if you will, air the dirty laundry. And we found out today that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, is on behalf of the Trump administration, is sending Assistant Attorney General Todd Blanch to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell. How do you pronounce her name? Ghislaine? Ghislaine Maxwell. I'll just call her Maxwell. I always forget it. So pardon me if someone can tell me how to actually say her name, because Maxwell is in prison. No men are in prison. Maxwell's in prison. She was Epstein's partner, his quote unquote girlfriend, a person who used to procure these girls for him and allegedly other men. And she's in jail right now. If anyone knows anything and everything about all the skeletons in the closet and all the dirty laundry, it's Maxwell. But Lev has a piece out today where he's like, this is actually bad news because he is very familiar with Assistant Attorney General Todd Blanch. And the S is silent. The G is hard. Ghislaine, thank you so much. And also, before we get to Les's piece, Speaker Mike Johnson said he would shut down the House until September to block a vote on calling for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. It's already one of the least productive Congress in history, and now he wants to shut it down for a month and a half, just for the sake of his king and daddy, Donald Trump. And with that, I give it to you, Lev.
Waj, I mean, you do such an incredible job breaking it down. I mean, it's incredible. I couldn't have done it better myself. Thanks for having me. Folks, lots of going on right now. I want to start off, first of all, by reading the statement that Todd Blanch and Pam Bondi put out today, and then we're going to break it up, and I'm going to explain to you why this is a dangerous time, and we have to keep our eye on the ball. So Todd Blanch put out a statement today. This Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truths, nor from the responsibility to pursue justice wherever the facts may lead. The joint statement by the DOJ and the FBI of July 6 remain as accurate today as it was when it was written. So mainly they have nothing. There's no list, nothing, what he's trying to say. Namely, that there is a recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case. No evidence was uncovered that could predict an investigation against uncharged third parties. So he's doubling down right now, saying again, basically, that we found nothing, there is nothing, and we told you that. But President Trump has told us to release all credible evidence. So if Ghislaine, if I hope I pronounced it properly, Ghislaine Maxwell has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the FBI and the DOJ will hear what she has to say. Really? All of a sudden now you're going to hear what she has to say. Therefore, at the direction of Attorney General Bondi, I have communicated with counsel for Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell in the coming days. Until now, no administration, on behalf of the department, had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. That changes now. All right. Well, let's talk about some of this stuff, guys, because
and also, but before you go, I just want to just stress again, because we had these two pieces of breaking news, right? Where the Justice Department is reaching out to Ghislaine Maxwell, and we're going to have Lev talk about Todd Blanch and why they're reaching out to Ghislaine and what's going to happen. But again, the reason why Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is threatening to shut down Congress until September is because he's afraid that there's enough Republicans who will join Democrats in the House to force votes to release the Epstein files. So since he doesn't want to play with that fire, Speaker Johnson is trying to shut down the House, folks. If there was nothing to hide, why would they try to shut down the House? This is like the greatest example of the Streisand effect. Everything they're doing, Lev, is proving to me, who's not a conspiracy theorist, that there's probably a conspiracy to shut something down. But continue, Lev.
I mean, even if you're 100% right, even when you think you can. But it gets interesting. So Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, David Oscar Marcus, responded, and Caitlin Collins confirmed on CNN. She said, he says, I can confirm that we are in discussions with the government, that Ghislaine will be always testifying truthfully. We are grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case. Now, this is, you got to understand code language. This is already getting to basically what he's saying is, yeah, she'll tell you whatever you want to hear. She's willing to say and swear on it that that's going to be the truth. And we are grateful for you for giving us the opportunity to do whatever the hell we can to get the hell out of here and
Because she
cover up
wants a
for you.
pardon, right? She wants a
Yeah.
pardon.
Well, I don't think she'll get a pardon. I think she's going to get a commutation. I think he's going to let
Okay.
her out. I think he's going to give her a commutation. But let's talk a little bit first about what's going on, why this is, and who's being sent. The person that's being sent in, and I wrote in my Substack today, is the fixer. That is Todd Blanch. Todd
Yep.
Blanch history goes back to originally he was an district. He was an ASU at the Southern District of New York. He then went to work for a big firm and represented Paul Manafort. If you
Can you
recall,
remind people who Paul Manafort is, please?
Paul Manafort is the gentleman. He was the direct link between Russia, Ukraine. Went to prison, was sentenced for 7.5 years. Trump pardoned him. He was his campaign manager and was getting paid millions and millions of dollars. And that's another show we could talk about because Paul Manafort was also close friends with my ex partner and who was my co-defendant on the case, Igor, who happened to be who Todd Blanch represented, but we're going to get to that. So Todd Blanch was basically SDNY prosecutor. Then he went in and became part of Paul Manafort's team with Kevin Downing. That was the two of them. He was successful in getting actually a case dropped for Paul Manafort, the double jeopardy case, that the state case or the federal case in New York, they tried to charge him double jeopardy while he was in prison, charge him again for a case that, and he was successful in getting him off of that. When I got arrested, me and my partner Igor, we were arrested in Alexandria, Virginia, but our case was out of the Southern District of New York. So originally, our lawyers were, Trump issued lawyers. For those of you that don't know, he actually wrote a letter allowing his lawyers of Dowd and Downing and Jay Sekulow to represent me, so there's no conflict of interest, and Igor while we were being held in Alexandria, Virginia. But when we
Mm,
had switched over to New York, we needed New York lawyers. So at that point, we were given Todd Blanch and his team. But this is when I had the break.
mm.
I had the break, and I decided that I'm not going to continue playing their game, and that's when I decided to fire them, get my own lawyer, and decide to come out and speak truth to power and spill the beans, as they say. I've had plenty of conversations with Todd Blanch, screaming matches, a lot of F bombs both ways, to the point where Todd Blanch went from being somebody that was supposed to defend me to then becoming my adversary.
Mm.
Todd Blanch has a specialty. He's not a trial lawyer, as all of you might have seen during the trial of Donald Trump, which Donald Trump is now a convicted felon of 34 charges. Todd Blanch was his lawyer. So he's not a great trial lawyer. What he does is he comes in is because of his connections in the Southern District of New York, because of it's in that area, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not what you're all about. And basically, he comes in and tries to shut it down. I recall when we first met with Blanche, and I was on speakerphone at the time, and Igor was in his office. The first thing out of Blanche's mouth to me was he mimicked what Rudy Giuliani told me. What we're going to do is we're going to keep quiet. We're going to shut everything down. I'm going to negotiate the best possible deal. You're going to get, whatever deal it is. You're going to plead. You're going to let a day out, and then Trump's going to take care of the rest. Okay.
Just like mob stuff. Just shut your mouth.
Oh, just shut your mouth.
Protect
Yeah,
protect
we're
the
going quiet.
family.
Right. We're
We'll
going
we'll
quiet.
take care of you.
Exactly. So when I decided not to go, when I decided to speak up, that's when the fighting started. We first started, it became media of war because every time I would give a press release, do an interview, Todd Blanch would go on the offensive protecting Donald Trump using his client my co-defendant Igor, because Igor would not say these things. There was no proof, but because he was on the case with me, and because it looked like two of the same people were fighting with each other, they had an in basically because originally we had a co-defendant agreement that I had to cancel, so we wouldn't share information between ourselves because I didn't want the information going out to Trump. So he would give all these type of adversary stuff in the newspaper, trying to make me look like I'm a liar, that I'm crazy, making things up. But then it got even worse, because then the impeachment started in Trump. And I decided to hand over and testify and give over my evidence into the first impeachment of Donald Trump. Todd Blanch actually went to court asking the Southern District of New York judge because to seal all the documents, because he was on behalf of my co-defendant, saying that it would be harmful to him in the case if any of my documents that
Mm.
contain nothing to do with our arrest went out to Congress. Thank God we won, and actually, my lawyer Joe Bondi kicked Blanche's ass every single time. He didn't win one time going up against us in the Southern District of New York, even in his own backyard. So, primarily, Blanche is a fixer that goes in there to try to keep things under control and shut down. And this is where my fear comes in over here, because what we're seeing unfold right now is not normal situation. First of all, let's remember certain things that we missed because of things. The firing of Marie Comey. Like her, hate her, doesn't matter. It's not one thing I always talk about. It's not about the personalities or thing. It's about what is actually happening behind the scenes. She was the lead prosecutor on the Epstein case, on both his Epstein, and then she put away Maxwell. So if they would have fired her right now, she would have to be there at the questioning, and she would be part of the conversations of going out, what questioning, what would be, and there would be a witness to the questioning of happening. What we're seeing play out, which is, I don't think it's ever been. I'm not a lawyer, but is spoken to certain people in the field. They're telling me they don't think this has ever been done, where an attorney general or an assistant attorney general has gone into prison to basically depose or question or talk to an inmate. And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be present at this, what type of notes, like what's going to be said. So this is where the scary part comes in, because just watching already the back and forth and coming out, is I'm scared because the Donald Trump doesn't flip it on us and flip it on the Democrats with his base, and how what's it called, by right now coming out and having her start all of a sudden. Because the one thing also that bothered me today, and I know everybody was saying this was good news, but see, I know these people, and that's why I'm going to tell you that sometimes what looks good is not really good. Today, there is breaking news that the House Oversight Committee is going to subpoena Maxwell to go talk. The House Oversight Committee, I want you to understand, is run by a gentleman by the name of James Comey. Not Comey, Comer. Excuse me, Comer.
Yeah.
James Comer, if you don't know it, is a diehard Trump loyalist that has been going after the Bidens. He's the one that in charge of every conspiracy theory that's out there in all these hearings. He's the one doing it. There's no way in eternity that James Comer does anything that could be detrimental to Donald Trump or any of Donald Trump's agenda. So I want to make it very clear. So for James Comer to agree to subpoena Maxwell, and this is what I'm worried about, folks, that
Mm.
all of a sudden we don't have a bombshell that comes out and that the media jumps all over. Some sort of, I don't know, Clinton, Schminton, I don't know what it is.
Muddying the
But
waters. They're muddying the waters.
major muddying the waters, which will then allow Trump to flip it, say it again, it's the deep state. Because I already see a little bit of it on the MAGA side, because for the past 2 weeks, I've already seen some of them trying to switch back over and start giving him excuses and start talking about these things. And I'm seeing it play out. And watching Blanche himself take charge of this situation, not have a normal process, and send people in, it's scaring the shit out of me, Waj.
No, so I Thank you for laying it out. Thank you for telling us how this works behind the scenes. Thank you for telling us about these folks because not everyone understands. And if it sounds like you're watching The Goodfellas or Godfather, that's exactly it. Because you and also Michael Cohen have often said that Donald Trump acts like a mob boss, right? You understand and translate what he wants you to do. So Todd Blanche has been sent to deliver a message to Ghislaine Maxwell, right? It's much like Tom Hayden, right? I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. And I'm afraid that the offer is going to be that, listen, we'll commute your service or we'll help you come out of prison. We'll restore you. You keep your mouth shut and or worst case, you say a narrative that exonerates Donald Trump, right? And then they're going to say, see, the shooting, the smoking gun, Maxwell agrees with us. See, it's a deep state conspiracy. The problem, though, Lev, and I understand why you're saying this, and I think we should be prepared because they're desperate. The problem with this is I think the base is too radicalized. I think the base is too radicalized. And I also think they demand the release of all the files. And they probably do not trust Maxwell anymore because if she gets pardoned, they're like, oh, the deep state went and exerted pressure. The deep state now, folks, is Pam Bondi. The deep state now is Kash Patel. The deep state now is Dan Bongino. And what we've seen simultaneously, and for those who are joining us, the 1,200 folks, thanks for joining us. Lev has a great piece, which I'll link to, talking about why Donald Trump and Pam Bondi sending Todd Blanch to talk to Maxwell is basically the fixer trying to shut her up or coerce a story out of her that will make Donald Trump look good, is the fact that Mike Johnson is willing to shut down the House for a month and a half instead of have the House even vote for the release of the Epstein files because I think he knows he doesn't have all the votes. He's afraid because, as you know, Lev, we talked last time, the MAGA base is now revolting against people like Bongino and others. And now there's a type of triangulation that's happening with Charlie Kirk, Mark Levin, a few others. But there's cracks. The comedian bros, Shane Gillis, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, whose base is radicalized and put her in power. Lev, I think there's too many cracks here. What do you think?
No, I agree with you 100%. And I've been talking about also, I think Donald Trump destroyed that mega cult base that even, like I said before on your show, the butterflies are out of the bottle. You're not going to get all of them back in, and 100%, he's not going to be able. See, no matter what Donald Trump comes out with right now, there's going to be skepticism, and that's the beauty of it in the mega base, and this is what we want to take advantage of. What I'm worried about is because I knowing the way that media follows these trails,
Yep. Yep.
knowing a little bit about the way Donald Trump, knowing a lot about the way Donald Trump knows how to manipulate it and how to also have others that will join the bandwagon. And that's why I'm seeing the people line up. And the fact that Johnson gave him a month to line this up and to do it, and the time is even sickening because the players is the names. You got Blanche coming in there. See, if this was all of a sudden, okay, you know what? Let's send in the DOJ. I still wouldn't trust it, even if you sent in regular
Oh yeah.
people. You know what I'm saying to you? But the fact that he can't even like make it look decent enough where you're going to send line prosecutors to go in there and do their job by sending in like the head the attorney general, assistant attorney general, that right there, is first of all. Second of all, you got, like I said, even though Johnson gave him the time, because I say there's moving parts, there you're looking, oh, that's a bad thing, but then they also gave you a bone by saying all of a sudden Comer is willing to, their oversights, willing to subpoena now Maxwell to come in and do their thing. So now you got all of this going on, but what it does right now, it takes a little heat off the base.
Yep.
And again, and that doesn't mean that they're going to get everybody back. But over the past several days, I've been watching a lot of them already starting to depart from each other and start trying to give, like even with the Russia hoax, about trying to like just think about we're not even talking about that he's literally wants Obama indicted. He
Yep.
literally put a video. I mean, this is a sick pervert that put a video of the president of the United States, ex sitting there getting on his knees, arrested, thrown into jail on I don't know, on the White House.
Yeah, AI generated video
I
of
mean,
FBI arresting Obama. But this is where Lev. See, this is where I'm glad you're raising the alarm, and I think we should all be prepared. And I think we should go eyes wide open that this is the plan, right? And this is what they're going to do. And I do think they're going to get some of the MAGA fold because Donald Trump yesterday had his lowest approval ratings, negative 11 points from an A-plus pollster. He's underwater on immigration, underwater on tariffs, underwater on the economy. He looks weak. This is where I want to ask you because I feel, Lev, that the crack. See, what I've always said, even with my co-host Danielle, is no one should look for a haymaker. I know everyone wants a haymaker, but I think there's a significant crack here. And I think some of these folks won't come back. And so this is where I want to ask you. Wall Street Journal released that letter. What was in the letter? Donald Trump threatened them after they published that piece that described the letter of Donald Trump's correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday. Donald Trump went ahead and is now suing Wall Street Journal for $10 billion. Wall Street Journal, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, said it stands by its reporting and basically said, "Bring it on." They haven't apologized. Then what we found out is JD Vance had a meeting with Rupert Murdoch recently. So, Lev, um, to me, it seems like it's not Julius Caesar yet, but they're sharpening the knives. Like the fact that Rupert Murdoch didn't cave and the fact that he met with JD Vance. What's your take on this, Lev?
Well, let me ask you this question because you're right on the right track. And watch, let me hear your answer. What happened after J.D. Vance met with Rupert Murdoch? What happened today?
What happened? You tell me.
They announced that now all of a sudden Todd Blanch is going to go see Vance.
So you think that's directly connected?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
100%, because there's the fact that he's suing him for 10 billion and all this is all again theatrics. This is all there's not gonna be discovery. People are, oh, I can't wait till this no go. Murdoch's not settling this case. This case is far from. I mean, we're talking years of that it's just gonna be on a shelf somewhere before it. In the meantime, these were like two heavyweights giving each other a blow because what that Wall Street Journal report was all about was not the Wall Street Journal. This was Maxwell. Because what people do is underestimate Maxwell herself. They forget that she's no little angel here that's
No,
being.
no, not at all.
She's worse. I think she's worse than him. If you really want to put it though, because she used her charm and to manipulate all these. I'm not even going to go into the nasty stuff, but also don't forget who her father was. She
Yep.
was bred to be in a household of extremely power and all of this back dealing, backstabbing, shadow type of actions. She's the one that was like literally. I mean, she was his right hand, so she is manipulating a lot of this stuff behind these messages that they're giving each other. That Epstein's lawyer all of a sudden is thanking Trump. JD Vance met with what he met with Murdoch, just like what a lot of people don't know. Wash. You know who else met with Murdoch the day of my arrest? Bill Barr. The day of
Mm.
my arrest, Bill Barr, and it was reported but hidden in the war, went to some district and after my arrest went to meet with Murdoch. And you know what happened? Fox didn't do one report, anything about me, shut me down completely after that. Like right after that. Nobody there's a lot of what's it called? that chain of events and like
Incestuous.
so JD Vance met and basically found out that yes, they got the goods and Murdoch told them where the goods was coming from.
And
Maxwell. Because she's the only one that had those. She's the one that put that together. She was in charge of putting those letters. She would have been in charge of doing all of that. So all of a sudden that leaks. JD Vance goes meets him, and today we got Todd Blanche dispatched straight to the prison cell to figure it out.
I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. Yeah, let's see what happens. But I think they're priming JD Vance because JD Vance was hand delivered to Donald Trump by the Broligarchy. JD Vance was hand delivered to Donald Trump by Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. JD Vance, I always tell people, JD Vance is not beloved by MAGA. JD Vance is this rich boy who's seen as a fraud, who made his money in New York, was groomed by Peter Thiel, and they said, all right, quid pro quo, we'll give you money, and here's our guy JD Vance, and JD Vance will sell his own mother, his own wife, his own children to get ahead. I think they're sharpening the knives just in case if Donald Trump goes down, he's too old. They're going to put JD Vance in there. I see a MAGA movement that is cracking, Lev. Again, folks, I'm not thinking that we're going to completely destroy them. I'm not saying that they're just going to go away and like overnight people will return back to normalcy. But I see a weakening movement with a weakening leader who is very desperate. And I want to ask you this question, Lev. Why is he so desperate? What is he trying to hide? Or rather, let me put it this way. If these files and this evidence and this information is released, what will it show that Donald Trump wants suppressed?
Well, this is a great question, and this is what I wrote about in my Substack because I think the nasty and the dirty stuff that has to do with Donald Trump, I don't think there's a smoking gun there. I could be wrong because I think if there was a smoking gun where Donald Trump did something criminal and they had it in those files, let's not forget that those files were still there during the Merrick Garland, during Bill Barr. I mean, and going back, so there's a lot of and Marie Comey. There's a lot of people that seen those files. So that's why I say to everybody, it's the third party people. It's the thousands of victims. Exactly. Thank you. You're right. Always say follow the money. It's the power of the people, maybe even internationally. Might not be, we don't know. But that's where, just think about this that we're finding out. That's interesting. We keep talking about all the sexual and all this, which is granted, we need to keep the awareness for the victims and for all of these people that don't have a voice. But let's also talk about something. This relationship that Epstein had with Trump wasn't just going back just in the 90s and early 2000s. We just, if those of you that saw my special, I released a tape from Michael Wolff, because he's released lots of tapes. So one of the tape that gets lost and I found in the grave is Epstein in his own voice talking about how he spoke with Donald Trump in 2017 and how Donald Trump was telling him about how he dealt with Steve Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, Carl Icahn, Jamie Dimon. I mean, and sitting there, you hear Epstein in his own voice talking about, and if you listen, it's exactly what transpired. Like talking about Kellyanne's husband, what's his name?
Conway, George Conway.
Conway, George Conway, exactly. All of that stuff, and you see Maxwell, and this is going back to now to 2017, while Trump was already in office, and it shows that they had a close enough relationship where Epstein could relate and tell you the things he was telling Wolf, the things Trump was telling him. There's another thing that right now that the media is touching on it, but again, not what's it called, is the $1.5 billion that
There you
Epstein
go. I was
wire
about to go there.
transfers that have been going on, and a bunch of them, over I think 500,000, don't quote me because I don't have the numbers in front of me, were with Russia. We're in between Russia. So you got all of these moving parts happening on, and the one thing I will give this watch to the media is that they've been able to, for the past 2 weeks, keep it, it's finally, because I was scared that, and if they keep this up, we will succeed and we will win. The interesting part in this war of disinformation and with the media push is going to happen right now, because again, I believe that they're going to come out that with, because remember there was that list of sick perverts wasn't like we spoke about. It had nothing to do with your religion or your party
Nope.
affiliation. There was Democrats on there, Republicans
Yep.
on there. All Donald Trump needs right now to change this news cycle, what I'm scared of is some name on there where they don't even have to give you the proof, where there could be an accusation made big enough, and then bring her out in front of the James Comer, in front of the and have them blow it up where just like they're making it look like they're whoever that person is is like the worst of the worst, and have the media chase it like it wasn't, change the whole media cycle. And yes, will it still bring his whole base together? Absolutely not, but it will do a lot more damage to our country, I think, because it will just screw everybody. You know what I'm saying? I just
I,
think
I I feel like Donald Trump is like a bloated rat with cankles who's now backed into a corner, and he's a violent rat who is willing to chew off one of his cankles and anybody to stay alive. He is a person who's willing to burn down the country for himself and his power and his ego and his wealth. He doesn't care about anything or anyone, and I believe he is shook. What I've seen from the past couple weeks, I've never seen him this shook before. This is his kryptonite. He has tried everything. He's thrown everything at the wall to distract the base. Yesterday, folks, breaking news we've already forgotten is that the FBI released MLK's files when it came to his assassination. And his family was like, "We didn't ask for this. We wanted some privacy, but okay. What about the Epstein files, right?" And I was like, "You got so close, Pam Bondi. You released files, but the wrong ones, right?" So I believe, Levin, going back to your point, I don't have any faith in the corporate media because you're right. This information was public. There have been victims, people. There have been women for decades telling their story about Epstein. There have been women who've gone to law enforcement, and this country just moved on. The reason why the country isn't moving on right now is because of MAGA, because we have affirmative action for the right wing, and because MAGA has given uh, corporate media and Democrats the permission to talk about this on the front page of the New York Times for the past couple of days. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. And I think in a strange way, folks, MAGA is going to be the one that's going to be driving the story, which is then going to give permission to corporate media because they're all cowards to follow up on this story. And I think it's going to be MAGA in particular, that part of MAGA that has been radicalized, and now you're seeing some Democrats also like Ro Khanna and Wyden and a few others really start to like to realize, oh, we should go all in on this, right? I feel like it's up to rest of us to keep it in the news, no matter how much they try to distract with Hunter Biden. I said, oh, Hunter Biden's 3 hour video, that's great. Epstein, oh, FBI list with MLK, Epstein. And I think this guy, and plus with the trade war, the economy, inflation, immigration, I feel Donald Trump is getting rattled. I don't think he's the same man, Lev. But before we let you go, and before I go drop off my parents, I got to go to the airport and drop them off. But Lev texted me and says, "Let's talk." I'm like, I read his piece. I'm like, gotta talk to Lev. Lev, final word to you. Your recommendation for the Democrats and also for the majority and how they should keep up pressure because you know MAGA.
It's all about the messaging right now. Just like Wash said, 100% word for I couldn't have said it better myself. Is keep the pressure on, keep them. Don't get distracted with little side stories. Don't get distracted with as I like to say, the P tapes, because we have enough facts, enough already information to keep the message alive and keep the pressure on. 100%. Mega is not the same. Will never be the same. He destroyed it. I wrote about it. He destroyed MAGA. You can't get the butterflies back into us. But with that said, we have to be alert. We have to have our eye on the ball because right now, what he's trying to do and what we're telling you right here, you heard it here first, and you're going to see it play out in the next several hours, next several days. This thing is going to play out like a choreographed play or show on TV. And it's all about what right now, all of a sudden, they're going to be trying to shut it down. They're going to try to distract. They're going to try to divert. I mean, even today in the Oval, Donald Trump triple, quadruple down with his mega base by saying that right now we shouldn't be thinking, even looking at Epstein, even though he goes, I don't care if they want to do it. And that's how you know it's important to him.
Yep.
When he turns around and says, oh, I don't care. I don't know nothing about it. Like, oh yeah, they're going to go question her. Great. Let her question her. That's on his mind. And then right away he switches over and says, but the real conspiracy is Obama.
Oh yeah.
Treason. Obama, treason. He wants you to go. He wants because he knows that was part of the base also. But what he's miscalculated and didn't realize it that this is more than just a conspiracy. This is more than just a what's it called? Here we have actual victims involved. We have
That's right.
actual kids involved. We have actual women and boys and men. We have actual people, human beings that are. Some of them are not even alive anymore, folks.
Oh,
Some of them are so damaged they'll never be the same. I put up the interview. I'm sorry of that poor young girl, Katie Johnson. Watch, and she would to hear what she was saying that they were doing at 13. You can't make this up. Yeah, I could envision it growing up in that world of time and around those people of power, all of that, talking about having orgies with all these powerful men, and all these girls being the oldest one being 16 years old, having
three
handlers.
months ago, 3 months ago in April, Virginia Jeffrey, one of Epstein's most prominent victims, who accused Prince Andrew, killed herself by suicide, folks.
Exactly.
So that was just 3 months ago. There are real victims here, and we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk to Vicky Ward, the investigator on
He's great,
investigative
actually.
journalist who's been following this for a while on Thursday. And I think that's one thing that people are forgetting: the victims. And in addition to what Lev said, uh, they've radicalized their base with this for 10 years through QAnon. The base isn't going to forget. I think this is his kryptonite. I don't think it's going to destroy him. I think it's going to weaken him. I think it's up to us to remind Democrats and corporate media to be on it. But even if they're not, we're on it. Independent media is on it. I want to thank Lev for joining me. This is Lev Parnas. Is Lev Remembers. Become a subscriber to Lev's website. I'm going to have this article up. There's about almost 2,000 people watching us. We've been speaking for 35 minutes. Lev's will be up on Lev's website and my website. There's no paywalls on the Left Hook. Please become a free subscriber. If you give a few bucks, please do. I have like 800 kids. All the information is for free as we try to fight for our democracy against fascists. We'll have the article up with the transcript, and I'm going to link to Lev's article. You can read Lev's article on Lev Parnas, Substack, Lev Remembers, and hopefully Lev texts me in a few days with some good news, and we will be back. Folks, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Be kind. And please, oh, please don't be a fascist. Thanks, Lev.
Thanks, Waj. Have a great day,
Thanks,
brother.
buddy.
Take
Take
care.
care.